MashaAllah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Allah, 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 Allah. Let's make our intentions sincerely for the sake of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Thereafter know that the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said, Ad-du'a mukhul ibadah, which means that ad-du'a, supplicating to Allah, asking Allah, hoping from Allah, pleading. This is a great, great, great part of worship. Mukhul ibadah, al-mukh is like the marrow that is in the bone. It's in the center. You cannot separate it from the bone in so much as it is so central to the bone that if you mention the bone, the marrow is with it. He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, that supplicating to Allah, ad-du'a, it is mukhul ibadah. It is like this. It is a central core type of worship, a great, great, great type of worship, because you surrender yourself. You are confessing and articulating, even without speaking, your need of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, ad-du'a'u mukhul ibadah, and in another hadith, ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. It is worship. It's pure worship. 100%. You make dua, you're worshipping Allah. Whether you get what you wanted, whether you get what you asked for or not, you are worshipping Allah. Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. Because you believe that Allah is the only one that can create benefit for you and divert harm away from you. Only Allah is the creator, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So it is a great, 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 great type of worship. A dua, it is a great cause for a person to become jubilant in life, become victorious, triumphant, happy, just feeling nice. A dua can be the reason for a person's worries to just evaporate away, for a person's sorrows to disappear, for a person's situation to become easy. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once entered al-masjid and he saw a man from the Ansar there, known as Abu Umama radiyallahu anhu. He said to him, ما لي أراك جالسا في المسجد في غير وقت الصلاة يا أبا أمامة. Why do I see you sitting in the masjid in other than the time of the prayer? Abu Umama replied, هموم لزمتني وديون أثقلتني يا رسول الله. Worries that have stuck to me and debt that has weighed me down, O Messenger of Allah. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, أفلا أعلمك كلاما إذا قلته أذهب الله همك وقضى دينك. Do you not wish for me to teach you words that if you say them, Allah will relieve you of your worry and your 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 debt will be settled, will be paid? He said, Bala ya Rasulullah. Yes, of course, O Messenger of Allah. So he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, say, if you are up for Fajr, and say in the evening also, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan, wa a'udhu bika min al-ajzi wal-kasal, wa a'udhu bika min al-jubni wal-bukhl, وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. Abu Umama said, I did that. And so Allah did away with my worries and my sorrows. He said, فعلت ذلك فأذهب الله همي وغمي. I did that. And Allah did away with my worries and my sorrows. وَقَضَى دَيْنِي, and facilitated for me to pay my debt back. Narrated by Abu Dawood. You see, this is an example of a dua taught by the Messenger of Allah himself, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you want to say a dua, don't make one up. Search first. Is it mentioned in the hadiths of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam or not? Can I find it in the Quran? Let me ask somebody. Is it in the Quran a dua that fits my need? Because you want to be uttering the eloquent words of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, which are filled, brimming with blessings. Words have a difference. If you say a dua in English, if you want to translate a dua of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam into English, it does not have the same merit as it does in the Arabic language. Subhanallah, for years, I remember, walillahi alhamd, I was teaching people to make dua and say, Ya Allah, grant me what is better for me. Ya Allah, grant me what is better for me. Ya Allah, grant me what is better for me. And this is something good to say. This is good to say. And you should say it. Then Allahul Muwaffiq, Allah is the one that facilitates the good and creates the good for us and then rewards us for the good that He creates for us. Ma akramah, how generous Allah is, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Then it was brought to my attention, Allah facilitated it for me. It crossed my mind by the grace of Allah that the Prophet alayhi salatu was salam, the dua that he would make the most was رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً. Ya Allah, grant me in this worldly life what is good for me. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً, and in my hereafter, grant me what is good for me. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, and protect us from the fire, from the punishment of hell. Grant us what is good for us in this life, and grant us what is good for us in the afterlife, and protect us from the fire of hell. So I found the dua that I had been making and telling people to make, walhamdulillahi ta'ala, for a long time in the hadiths of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Dua is very, very powerful. Dua is very, very powerful. Ibrahim ibn Adham radiyallahu anhu was one of the Salaf. He once passed by a market in Basra, al-Basra, in al-Iraq, Iraq. The people gathered around him and asked, Ya Aba Ishaq, O Aba Ishaq, indeed Allah revealed, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Allah revealed this. Allah revealed, make dua, ask me, and I will give you. Allah revealed in the Quran that your Lord revealed, Udi'uni, make dua to me, ask me. Astajib lakum, and I will answer your prayers. I will grant you what you are asking for. So they said, Ya Aba Ishaq, inna Allah qad anzala fi kitabih wa qala rabbukum ud'uni astajib lakum. And we supplicate to Allah, but we are not granted what we ask for. So Ibrahim ibn Adham radiyallahu anhu replied, and he mentioned 10 matters. The first of them, as we're going to mention, when they said to him, we ask and we're not given, he said, لِأَنَّ قُلُوبَكُمْ مَاتَتْ بِعَشَرَةِ أَشْيَاء. You are not granted because your hearts have died by 10 things. There are 10 matters because of which your hearts are among the dead hearts. They said, وَمَا هِيَ? What are they? He said, Al-awwal, the first one, أَنَّكُمْ عَرَفْتُمُ اللَّهِ فَلَمْ تُؤَدُّوا حَقَّهُ. You knew Allah, but did not fulfill His rights. You believed in Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. You have the correct belief. You know Allah is not like the creation in any way whatsoever. But then Allah has ordered you to do certain things. Allah has prohibited you from engaging in certain matters. But you do not fulfill those rights. You know Allah exists. You know that you are going to be held to account on the day of judgment. You know that there is a grave. You know death is real. But even after knowing Allah, even after ma'rifatillah, believing in Allah, the correct belief, you do not fulfill His rights. You miss obligations and you commit sins. الثاني, and the second is, ادعيتم حب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ولم تعملوا بسنته. You claimed to love the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, but you did not follow his sunnah, يعني you did not follow his way. You claim to love him عليه الصلاة والسلام. You say you love him. You say, Ya Rasulullah, you are more beloved to me than my mother and my father, my sister and my brother, my children, and even myself. But you do not follow his way. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, Al-Muslimun man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. Al-Mu'minun, the perfect believers, are whom? الذين سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده, are those that the Muslims do not feel threatened by their tongue and do not feel threatened by their hands. Meaning they do not fear from this person who is a perfect Muslim. They do not fear that they will be slandered by him or her. They do not fear that behind my back they're going to talk about me. They're going to gather with another group of women and they are going to talk bad about me, about my clothes, about my family, about my state. This person doesn't fear that those men, they're going to make fun of me. This person over here, he's going to insult me to my face. This person is going to assault me physically. No, the people, the Muslims do not fear this from the perfect Muslim. This is part of the sunnah of the Prophet, the way, the methodology of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So this second matter is among the 10 matters that contributes to the causes of a dead heart. Ibrahim ibn Adham said, الثالث قرأتم القرآن ولم تعملوا به. He said that the third is that you recited the Quran, but you didn't act upon it. Allah revealed in the Quran, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Protect yourselves and your families from the fire of hell, from a fire. وَقُودُهَا النَّاسِ. It's fueled by people, people's bodies burn in it. And because of that, it rages more. وَالْحِجَارَ, and stones burn in it. People nowadays recite the Quran, and this is in his time, Ibrahim ibn Adham, over 1,000 years ago. He said, you recite the Quran, but you don't act upon it. الرابع أكلتم نعمة الله ولم تؤدوا شكرها. He said the fourth matter is that you consumed Allah's blessings. Food, drink, health, healthy organs, healthy eyes, healthy ears, hands, feet, mouth, a nose, healthy organs on the inside, a liver that works properly, both kidneys that work, even a person's excretory system works. These matters that make things easy for us, they are blessings and endowments from Allah. We consume them, we use them, but then we don't offer gratitude for them. Some people even use these to disobey Allah. They've been given something. It's not them that owns their hand or their liver or their eye or their ear. It's not them that owns their bottom lip or their nostril. They don't own these things. And despite not owning them, despite them being owned by Allah, they abuse them. It's not even theirs. And they abuse this. They don't offer gratitude. Gratitude would be to use them in a way that Allah accepts. But you people, he's saying, you consumed Allah's blessings, but did not offer gratitude for them. Al-Khamis, قُلْتُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ عَدُوُّكُمْ وَوَافَقْتُمُوهُ. The fifth is that you said that the devil is your enemy, but you agreed with him. You commit sins. How can you say he is your enemy, but then you do as he does? You do as he encourages. He advises you and you accept. You lend an ear to him. This is the fifth matter that contributes to your heart being dead. السادس قلتم إنكم مشتاقون للجنة فلم تعملوا لها. The sixth is that you claim that you long for paradise, but you did not work for it. Do you pray your sunnahs? Do you fast your sunnah fasts? Do you attend the gatherings of religious knowledge and learn the manners of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam and his companions? Do you do any of those things? Do you make it an active effort? No, you don't. So you say, we're going to rest in paradise. I can't wait for paradise. Oh, in paradise, it's going to be so relaxing. It's going to be luxurious. It's going to be, yeah, you say you long for it, but did you work for it? La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. O Muslims. He said, السابع قلتم إنكم تخافون من النار فلم تهربوا منها. He said you fear hell, but you did not flee from it. Some people, it's as though they are running towards hell, galloping towards hell, sprinting towards the fire of hell because they engage in sins. One of the ways in which a person would be engaging in sins, and this would be a precursor for other sins, a stepping stone for other sins, is not to learn the Islamic knowledge. If a person, if there was a guide for the most sins a person could commit, what would be one of the principal stages, one of the first matters on there would be don't learn the Islamic knowledge. That way, one will be sprinting towards hell. So Ibrahim ibn Adham said, you're complaining about your dua not being answered? You said you fear hell, but you don't flee from it. You're running towards it. هذا السابع. He said, الثامن قلتم إن الموت حق ولم تستعدوا له. He said, the eighth matter is that you said that death is a certainty. Al-mawtu haq. Yeah, you believe that, right? Yes. But you didn't prepare for it. That's why your hearts are dead. Didn't the Prophet say, alayhi salatu wassalam, Akyasun nas, the most intelligent person is aktharuhum isti'dadan lil maut. The person who is the most intelligent is the one that is the most prepared for death. You believe death is real, but have you actually prepared for it? التاسع اشتغلتم بعيوب الناس ونسيتم عيوبكم. The ninth reason why your hearts are dead and your dua is not being answered is because you became occupied with the faults of others and forgot your own. Oh, so what is his situation nowadays? What's he doing nowadays? Mm. Did you hear what happened to his sister? Mm. Did you hear what they did the other day? Did you see what they did? Oh, yeah. Then the police went to their house, and then they dragged this person out, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then yeah, they're coming. They're on a plane. Yeah. Why do you know all these things? Oh, la ilaha illallah. You became occupied with the faults of others and forgot about your own. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, some people, they see the splint in the eye of the other but forget about the log in their own. Home truths, subhanallah. Ibrahim ibn Adham radiyallahu anhu said, Al-ashir dafantum mawtakum walam ta'tabiru bihim. He said that the 10th reason why your dua isn't being answered, the 10th reason why your hearts are dead, and hence why your dua is not being answered, is that you buried your dead, but did not take a lesson from them. You buried your dead, but you did not learn that lesson. That I am to die also. You bury friend after friend after friend, and you're still a fool. You're still stupid. You do not straighten your situation out. People say, be careful, huh? Tomorrow you're going to die. Tomorrow you're going to die. Well, let's make it even more serious. Perhaps it's today. Perhaps it's not even tomorrow. Perhaps those people, they're engaging in a bit of wishful thinking, thinking they've got some time. They're saying, oh, tomorrow you're going to die. Perhaps it's today. So for this reason, your hearts, he said, are dead. And for that reason, your dua is not being answered. Some of the scholars said that yes, many people's dua is not answered. A lot of dua is not answered, or meaning that a person doesn't get what they want. However, whoever's dua is without sin, and there is no religious obstacle in the way, then this person must attain, they will certainly attain something from the dua that they made. Either they get the reward, in all cases, they get the reward if there was no religious obstacle there. A matter Islamically that stops a person from getting reward, if that wasn't there, they'd get reward. Or on top of that, they get what they asked for physically in front of them. Whatever they asked for happens. Or some harm is diverted away from them. Or the good that they seek, that they didn't receive in this life from that dua, that they didn't see the apparent, they didn't see the apparent benefit of that dua, it would be stored away for them in the hereafter. Subhanallah. It's narrated about Ibrahim ibn Adham, radiyallahu anhu, that he was like a prince, one of the sons of a king. He said about himself, I was a youngster, and and hunting was made beloved to me. I loved hunting. So I went out one day hunting, and as I was following the prey, I heard a sound. I heard a sound. I heard something call out to me saying, Ya Ibrahim. And what's apparent is this is an angel. Ya Ibrahim, alihadha khuliqtah. Was it for this that you were created, Ibrahim? Abihadha umirtah. Was it this that you were ordered with, Ya Ibrahim? He said, and so I was struck with fear. I stopped in my place, in my tracks, and I said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. He said, and this happened again and again and again. He said, from under my saddle once, I heard the sound. He was running, remember? He had an animal with him. He said, I heard the sound from the saddle. The sound, the voice said, Wallahi, ma li hadha khuliqta, wa la bihadha umirta. The sound, the voice said, by Allah, this is not why, or this is not what you were created to be ordered to do, yani. This is not what you should be doing. And this is not what you were ordered to do. He said, so I, I was afraid. I didn't know what to do. I was afraid. So I coincidentally saw a shepherd shepherding his flock. So I said to him, give me these overalls that you're wearing. Give me this wool that you are wearing. And so I took it from him and I wore it. And I gave him my horse and whatever was with me. Just like that. And I headed off to Mecca. While I was in the desert, suddenly I saw a man walking. He did not have any containers for water, and he did not have any ration. So I was astonished. When the evening came, I prayed al-Maghrib. Or rather, when the evening came, that man prayed al-Maghrib. He had nothing with him. Suddenly he moved his lips. He was making dua. He moved his lips, and I didn't hear what he was saying. And suddenly, a plate of food appeared, delicious food, and energizing drink appeared. So I ate and drank with him. And I remained like this for days. And he taught me Ismallahi al-A'zam, the best name of Allah, the best singular name of Allah, which is Allah. That name that if a person asks Allah by it, mentioning it, then a person's dua would be answered. He taught me this, and then this man disappeared. He said, then one day, when I was feeling lonely, I was in my solitude, there was nobody with me. I made dua to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Suddenly, suddenly I felt someone tugging at my clothing lightly. I looked and I saw a person, and he said to me, Sal tu'tah, ask and you will be given. So I was astonished. I didn't know what to say. I was a little afraid at the time. So he said, La rawwa Allahu alayk. This is a dua made for a person. It's like saying, may Allah remove the fear from your heart. He said, La rawwa Allahu alayk, ana akhuka al-Khadir. He said, I am your brother al-Khadir, alayhi salam, the Prophet al-Khadir, alayhi salam. So Ibrahim ibn Adham said, فأنساني فآنسني يعني I sought his company, his good company. And this, it did away with what I was feeling of being alone. MashaAllah. Insha'Allah ta'ala, in our next session next week, we'll mention another short story, insha'Allah ta'ala, about one of the pious people. Allah yubarik fikum. These lessons, I'm not going to record them. Please, what I request is that, rather, I'm going to record them, I'm not going to spread them. So please, please do try to attend. Is something that is, insha'Allah, blessed. Allah yubarik fikum. Usually these sessions will last 30 minutes. Today I was a little late. That's why it's gone a little over. Allah yubarik fikum. Wallahu yajzikum khairan. Let's say La ilaha illallah and as-salah ala nabi. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. A person should say at least 300 times a day, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Two things that our sheikhs would always advise, and what the Prophet advised, alayhi salatu wassalam. I mean, that's where our sheikhs took it from. Saying, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله 300 times. He said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that it is the cure. In one narration, he said, for 70 ailments, 70 illnesses. The least of them is worry. The least of them is worry. Think about the rest. Think about the other 69. And in another narration, I remember 90, he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And also astaghfirullah. Also astaghfirullah. Saying this 300 times in the morning and 300 times in the evening. Shaykh Abdullah rahimahullah advised people to say it 300 times in the morning and 300 times in the evening. Let me tell you, sometimes we would go to our sheikhs and we would say, I am ill. They would say astaghfirullah a lot. Sometimes we would go to them and say, this brother over here has waswas and he needs something. They'd say la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Say astaghfirullah a lot. We would say such and such has a problem, such and such, they're threatening him with such and such thing, with some sort of injustice. They'd say la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There was a person who was unjustly imprisoned, and we asked about what should we tell him to do. Should we recite something for him? We were told, tell him to say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And يكثر من الاستغفار. The Prophet said عليه الصلاة والسلام من لزم الاستغفار, the one who sticks to الاستغفار جعل الله له من كل ضيق مخرجا. جعل الله له من كل هم فرجا. Allah will make for him a relief from every worry. وَمِن كُلِّ ضِيقٍ مَخْرَجًا, and from every tight space, from every tight situation, Allah will create for this person an exit, a solution. Yeah, subhanallah. Okay, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله and astaghfirullah. Allah yajzikum khairan. Yes, inshallah. Yes, inshallah, I will. Inshallah. طيب, Hassan. Yes, there is also a lesson today, inshallah, at 9:45 in 30 minutes. Just because of the prayer, the prayer is it's changing here, so that's why. So yes, in 30 minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.